This video is about importing data into the enhanced Vica42 workbook. I'm going to bring it up by double clicking on it. And this is a design that I might or might not want to save. I'll scroll out. I was playing with the lines here. Don't worry about that. Just seeing how big those segments were. So this had a type 15 slot, and the parameters are different than the motor I'm going to import. If I go to the import sheet, let's scroll back on this a little bit. Okay, on this sheet we have a bunch of variable names, and we have the values that have been imported previously. If we go to the AC MotorCAD tab and then import data, it's a two-step process. First you go get the data to make sure it's okay with test import. Then you accept the data and copy it into the cells in the design sheet cells. So we'll test an import. Let's sort by type. No, let's sort by name. Let's go to one called K500-6. I guess I should have shown it to you before doing this. Let's do just that. I'll double click on it here, and it will be brought up. Well, if I select Notepad, it'll be brought up in Notepad. And you can see I've got the basic old style of input data. There are no extra lines for the details for the slot, for the stator here, or the rotor down here. So I'm going to do that one. I'm also going to do one. There's another one I got recently. This one. Now this one has comments in it all over the place to help. And it does have, see, it has the stator punching stuff. Here's a stator punching line. And here are the slot details. Sooner or later, to get a sketch, you've got to come up with those dimensions. You can either put them in this file, or you can type them into the spreadsheet. There's the stator details, slot details, and here are the rotor slot details. This one has the cell thickness. You don't have a slot liner in the rotor. Okay, so let's take this out. Didn't need that. It was just some documentation I threw in. And so I'll save that one. Now, back to the point of the video. Here. Okay, let's pick the scant data file. There. Pick that, click OK, and you can see it's doing a bunch of gyrations here and saying data ready, please check it before accepting. This was mostly for program development because I had to straighten things out, but it's working now correctly, and these dimensions all look to me the same. As a matter of fact, look correct. If you have slot details, then these are the variables that correspond to these, one for one. The name of the variable is down here, the value is up here. So, for instance, stator type. Okay, I go over here, in this column it's stator type 2. So there's a one-to-one correspondence. And the old stuff that's in the old style file, I put X's in front of it because those aren't in the design sheet. Those aren't going to get imported, even though they appear up here. So now we're going to accept that data, and it's going to copy the numbers here. 67 cells were updated. These are some obsolete variables. And now we've got, it says, remember to put in these dimensions here, because they were not in the data import. So now, well, let's see, our flags, we only have an M2 flag now. I should fix that up. M2, the units flag, I want units 5. If you need a quick handy reference, it's down here. The M2 flag, 5 kilograms, centimeters, Teslas, and metric horsepower. This one is sort of weird, but VNOT had it in there, so I guess people must want it that way. 735 watts per horsepower. So I'm scrolling up now and looking for errors in the error column. And values have been changed. Slot type 2, here are all the dimensions, but these dimensions here are from the previous design because they weren't in the new file. So you gotta type those in. Now, this tape will get too long if I do that because I gotta go look these dimensions up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import that other one that has the slot dimensions in it. It was M something. M this one. So it went and got the data. You can see now we have a couple of lines that have the slot detail dimensions in it because it was taking the numbers from here. You can see that I have, now we don't have a second auxiliary winding, so this, you don't have this line up here. because it wasn't in the file. Anyway, that looks good to me. So I'm going to accept that. "77 cells updated. Obsolete variables, BS and BR, because they were redundant. It should say redundant variables or unused. And the sketch is still something old. So from any place you can hit the sketch icon. You could hit it from here or any other sheet. I'll hit the redraw button. Now, so far, we've done all our testing on Vica42 with the Type 4 motor. 2 capacitance values. But we have to do testing on the other types as well. Now, I've made it fast by cutting down the sector that's plotted. The sector is 30 degrees mechanical. So if I scroll in, hold down Control and scroll in. Okay, now I can see my slots. I'm not sure what's up with this circle here. It doesn't hurt anything really. And here's your end ring over here. Looks like the area is sort of small to me. Anyway, if we go back here and go down to the convenience variables, and I want instead of 30 degrees, let's make it 360. Really doesn't give you any more information when you're designing, but if you want to show it to somebody, it's nice to have the whole thing, I guess. Now we'll redraw again. You redraw because you want to check that your dimensions are reasonable and the shapes are as expected and so forth. Okay, so scroll wheel down moves it up, scroll wheel in moves it toward you. And I guess this is as big as we can go. There is a limit. I think it's 4 times. Alright, so that's how you import data. Now we know that it looks okay, we can just hit run. Run is complete. Hit enter. Did Vica run successfully? Yes. Vica, sorry, not Vica. I have a bad habit. Okay, there's the output data. This is a revision. This is when the software was revised, is here. Your run date is here. And so here's the load performance data, load performance chart. Sort of hard to mix these ranges on one chart. You've got your efficiency down here. No, it can't be. That's line amps, almost 20 amps. Here's efficiency, almost a little over 80, pretty bad. But it's a single phase motor. It is 3 horsepower though. Power factor is up pretty well, and here's the, what is that? That's the torque. And over here, your speed torque data, come on. And your speed torque chart for motor starting and running. The titles for the two charts are now here under charge title and the convenience variable, convenience parameters. So that's how you import data from an existing data file. Now, the data file that's written out, of course, with the enhanced version is much different. It has a much better format. It can't be read by the old Vica42 program. Let's see, date modified. Okay, here's the out file that gets read into the spreadsheet, and this is the format of the input file that gets read by the enhanced version. It's got all the variables and then the values so that they can be in any order and be controlled and so forth. And that's my video on importing data for the single phase motor application.